stories and tell my parents, and came to the spelling bee, the 6th grade spelling bee that day, right over here in the chapel. And it got down to me and Philip Fentress. Everybody got eliminated. And they asked him to spell judgment. And that's when we just learned how to drop the E and add the M-E-N-T. Remember that? You got to do that? Y'all don't remember that? Y'all do that? And so he went J-U-D-J real quick, and he went, nope, it's J-U-D-G. So you're right. So I spelled it right. I spelled extraordinary because I practiced it as extraordinary the night before. I wanted to spell it.
Yeah.
So I go home. Yeah, there you go. Okay, wait a minute. Here you go. So I go home that night.
Yeah, you better watch her. She got a buck for doing that last week.
You got what?
Don Farrell gave her a buck
This
for
is
it last
Pavlov's theory here. She got a kiss from me. You see, Hershey's kiss. So I went home that night and around the dinner table, and I went, what happened to you at school today and all this stuff. And so I won the spelling bee. My parents was looking at me and said, that's the worst lie you've told us all your life. Go to your room, got dinner. So I got crushed. I had to go to my room and get dinner that night. Had to go to school the next day and have the school call and tell them I won the spelling bee. And I got a big steak dinner that night. But so that was the last academic achievement of my life, is what I said. So I became an all-state basketball player here in 1970. Coach Peters' first all-state basketball player. And I went to Southwestern, now Rhodes, and I proudly tell this story that January 20th, 1971, I scored 29 points in a basketball game at Rhodes College as a freshman. That record still holds to this day. No freshman scored 29 points in 49 years. Yeah, okay. Well, we're not going to do that the whole time. But I also tell the story. Unfortunately, the 29 was higher than my GPA, okay, at Rhodes. You don't think about where the decimal point's supposed to be on that. So I was on the 10-year plan going through college. How many of y'all on the 10-year plan? 5-year plan? If you're on the 4-year plan, get out of here. You're going to need to be in here, man. You're gone. It's hard in the 70s when you're working, wanting to get married, having a child, didn't want to go to school, took every elective you probably could take to go to your degree. I probably had 250 hours for a degree, you know. And I finally found Parks and Recreation. And in my last year, I was finding some old stuff in the movies. I was on the dean's list here the last year. I had a 4.0. I was on the dean's list. I went, I'm going to frame that too, you know. And I had got a degree from the education, Parks and Recreation, municipal, went to Memphis Park Commission, doing special events in the community centers and playgrounds and day camps and the parks, the safety song and speech contest, the junior police cheese contest, you know, bicycle derby, pitch hit and run, canine frisbee catching fest, all these things, road races, brought the Olympic torch through town, just special events for kids on the parks and everything. I became administrative manager of the Park Commission and deputy director. So by age 32, I was in charge of the Liberty Bowl and the zoo and the garden center and all the community centers and downtown Riverfront. In 85, they sent me down to Mud Island to be the interim director and ended up being the director at Mud Island for 8 years. General manager, that is, from 85 to 93. So that's how I got into tourism downtown, at a growth period downtown. And then the riverboats from 93 to 98, 5 years at Memphis Riverboats down there. And then 3 years at Beale Street, run the operations of Beale Street during the millennium, 2000, Y2K. Anybody remember Y2K? You do, but yeah, y'all probably 5 years old then, weren't you? And then I was opening director for the Memphis Rock and Soul Museum, which is a Smithsonian museum in Memphis. And that's the greatest learning experience for me here, and I'll come back to that. And then 6 years for a marketing company for casinos and arenas around the country, uniforms, tchotchkes, all this stuff. And then and all the time I was also keeping the score clock for the Tigers basketball team at the Pyramid in FedEx Forum, and then the Grizzlies too. It's a nighttime hobby job, fun thing to do, and doing golf scoring around the country. And then went to work at Beale Street Landing in 2012 when we started getting the big riverboats to town, American Queen and people like that. Now there's 6 riverboats coming with over 30,000 people. It's a $42 million annual economic impact for our city. And then they asked me to be duck master at the Peabody Hotel. You've seen the duck sparks at the Peabody Hotel? I was duck master at the Peabody Hotel. So look at the variety of things I've been able to do in 45 years here, from church recreation and parks and tourism and ducks and riding boats to Vicksburg and Cincinnati and taking boats to Helena and New Madrid for festivals, my own boats. I ran. I've been a lucky guy, one of the luckiest guys there is, and I don't mind sharing that with you, that sometimes you just kind of go where it comes, you know, and people want you to come work somewhere. So I wish I'd have stayed in one of those jobs for 30 years. It looked like it added to be about 8 jobs in it, about 3 or 4 years apart. It's not exactly the path I would say go in. But so back in 2008, I was working for that marketing company, and I wasn't. When you're working for tourism, you're always telling people information or giving them directions or telling them a story while they're waiting in line for something, or they want you to step on their bus and ride around town and show them something. You do that. So doing that for 6 years, I got a hankering that the Downtown Memphis Commission, they had a program in Court Square called Downtown Alive, I think it was, and on Thursdays you could come down to Court Square and they'd have free music or free dance or ballet or something. You bring your sack lunch, brown bag it, get entertained and come out, and 100 people come or something like that, and they'd have fun. And I said, well, you don't have a lecture or tour component to your doing this. I'll do that for free for you. And I'll go over here and stand at Memphis Park and look out at the river and talk for 30 or 45 minutes about the history of the Mississippi River. There's all sorts of stories, you know. And they said, no, we're going to stick with the music and dance. I said, I'll do it for free. Don't worry about it. You just got to promote me. No. So I said, well, how about the river boats? Get people to come down to the river boats at lunchtime. The family made those boats from scratch in the backyard and on the riverfront that you see down there. Took them 3 years each time. You would go up in the pilot house and toot the horn, go in the boat room, trip on the cobblestones, you know, all that stuff. They said no. So I lived downtown for about 15 years, and I said, how about a manhole cover tour? They said yes. I went, okay. I got them to say yes. I didn't have a manhole cover tour. I just got them to say yes. I said, okay, let me plan this out. Now, how I got to that was I lived downtown for a long time, and at nighttime, I started living downtown in the 80s at Paperworks. I was the first resident there. We didn't even have an elevator in the building. I was on the 5th floor. And next door to me was Self's Cricket Range. They had 30 million crickets they were incubating every year for zoos and bait shops around the country. So literally it was me in downtown with me and the crickets. That was it, the bait shop crickets. There's a Civil Rights Museum one there, you know. All these things weren't there, just empty warehouses that had been vacated by the train economy, leaving downtown and going to the airport. So I've been walking around those streets, throwing a ball at night against the wall, you know, just from exercise and just playing imaginary games, you know. And I started seeing manhole covers on the streets. I started looking around, and there are different shapes and different sizes, different ornamentation. So I started taking pictures in that area. Then I went down all the way to the train station, and all the way up to Court Square, and all the way to the Pyramid, and all the way to the riverfront, all the way to Dannytown. There's about 2,000 manhole covers in downtown Memphis. I was taking pictures, and there was 157 different kinds. So I was going to do a pictorial essay at the Mississippi River Museum Chain and Exhibit Gallery. I've done 5 exhibits there, by the way, curated of different kinds. Art in the gutter, because there's ornamental iron, there's designs. If you ever looked at manhole covers, particularly in Europe and stuff like, there's some incredible designs and ornamentation on them. Some over 100 years old, some weigh over 100 pounds, some are 36 inches round. There's 3 different shapes: round, square, rectangular. There's 7 different usages: gas, plumbing, electric, storm drain, sewer, traffic signal, telephone. Like I say, some over 100 years old. So I went home that night and I said, well, I can't walk over downtown in 45 minutes. I got to pick one street. So I picked Union Avenue from Riverside Drive to the Peabody Hotel. I could do history of the river, history of the cobblestones, the flags, the landing, Cotton Row, WDIA, November the 6th, 1934 Street, Peabody. I could get a lot of history in there, and there's a whole lot of good, it's a treasure trove of manhole covers in there, if you get excited about manhole covers. And so I went back to them the next day and said, okay, I got it written up, I'm ready. And I ended up a sidewalk walking tour of my life. I said, let's call it the Great Union Avenue Manhole Cover and History Tour. That excites you, doesn't it? And I said, all you got to do is promote me, because I don't have a promotional vehicle. I'm not Facebook, I didn't have a website, nothing. I didn't have a way to do a PSA or anything. So they put it on their website, and the next day the commercial appeal called. Linda Moore, still around. You're not taking people down in those manholes, are you? I said, no, that's against the law. I'd never do that, right? So, but let me take you on a little tour, and I'll show you. Bring a photographer, and I'll let him take some pictures. And the next day in the newspaper, there's a story about this new tour starting in downtown Memphis, and there was 4 big pictures. I mean, big pictures. Took up 2/3 of the second page of the commercial. Ornamental manhole covers, different. And so the next day we had 91 people on the tour and 2 TV stations, which was twice as many people they had in Court Square. So I went, ha, a star is born. And they owed me, I owed them 10 tours, but they had to promote them. So that week, I had to write a tour for Cotton Row. And then the 2 Mississippi River tours. Since I worked on the riverboats, they came easier in Mud Island. then Beale Street, then Court Square, then Pinch District, then South Main, then Madison Avenue, Civic Center Plaza. I got 32 different walking tours at that time, Memphis, okay? And so it grew from that. Then the University of Memphis asked me to come here and do it as a continuing education course. And when they did that back then, I went, okay, so then I had to go get a laptop and a scanner to have pictures for a classroom session. I had to do 3 2-hour classroom sessions about the history of Memphis. And then we did 3 3-hour walking tours in downtown on Saturdays, part of a 15-hour CTU or whatever credits they give, CEU, continuing ed credit. That's 1.2 continuing ed credit. I had one history class in my life, you know. And then they asked me to be on the historical commission, and a year later they asked me to be the chairman because of my organizational skills, I guess, I don't know. And then 2 years later, the historian passed away, which is a lifetime appointment. And they asked me to be, and the county commission voted me to be the historian 5 years ago. And I ended up just talking, and kind of the little fish ate the big fish in my life because I got more disinterested in my work and more about doing walking tours and PowerPoints and going to senior citizen homes or residential centers like Kirby Pies, Town Village, and JCC. And church potluck socials. I ate 4 different kinds of deviled eggs in 1 week at one time. But I did over 250 talks and tours the last 4 years of my life. Free talks, all free. Okay. Now in 2011, a friend of mine came to me and said, "Do you need to do a Facebook page or do a website or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that stuff." He said he'd do it for me for free because the guy I used to do one for, the Davy Crockett Golf Course, had passed away. He wanted to do something else. I said, "Okay, I'll give you a Word document once a month." Y'all know what Word documents are. I know. And some pictures, and you do the rest. You build the page. And he started that 10 years ago.